Hello, I am Brian Bond, the owner of Leverage Financial Advisory, here with my friend Denham Hall. Denham, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Denham Hall. I'm a client with Bryant and happy to be here. Happy to have episode one start off today.
Yeah, and today we're going to be talking about, do I need a financial advisor? How do you know? When do you need one? Do you need one? So, Denham, I think you'd be good to kind of kick this off. I mean, because you found yourself in that position of, I feel like I need some assistance. So
Yeah.
maybe talk us through that little journey and then fire away.
Yeah, I'll maybe just give a little bit of background about my financial story, as it were. So, maybe starting back as like a kid, I think my first exposure to like real financial advice is up in Tennessee. So Dave Ramsey was on the local talk radio. I remember, listening with over here, my parents listened to him. Always some awareness in my family about money, the value of that, the importance of managing your money well. Got a job in high school, started working, making money. My dad, talked to me at an early age. Once I started making any kind of significant money, mowing yards, that sort of thing, he was, you save some, you know, invest money. And so, yeah, I always had some awareness of that. Had a couple internships in college, and also in like high school, I started, my parents, really pushed me to be responsible with my money and, started buying, my own clothes and had to pay for my own cell phone bill and pay for the gas in the car and then bought my own car and then worked my way through college too. So I just went to a public university and my parents helped me out. There's also an expectation that I was going to pay for it. So I think all those things just gave me a real strong foundation and awareness of managing my money well. And so once I graduated, I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. So I was already like number, Excel, like had some financial awareness, but also like those numbers. Married another engineer who also loved Excel. And so got married. We started doing budgeting together, built our own like spreadsheets to track our monthly budget and got out of like paid off our student loans and all that. So really started building up our 401ks, did our 401k matches. And then my dad was really helpful, talked to me about some Roth IRAs and some other stuff like that that I could do. And got to a point where we'd been working for several years, started building up the investment. We bought a house in outside of Boston in Medford, and it was a two-family. So we had one unit that we rented out, the first floor unit, and we lived on the second floor unit. Had two kids, both working, and got to the point where I realized I needed help. Like, and there was one where there's only so much I could bootstrap, and there's only so much I know, and specialization is really important to me. So I realized like there's a real value in finding other people that you can partner with that really have the expertise and the knowledge to take you to that next level. And so that's what I was looking for, and just someone else that also had like a network of CPA, and so you're thinking about retirement and having kids and thinking about wills and all those things. I knew all that's kind of interrelated, so I was looking for someone that had a network as well. And yeah, that was really the beginning of when I've got to find someone to partner with me and help.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I kind of have a similar story. I mean, I grew up like my parents, I was not spoiled. If I wanted something, I had to save up for it,
Yeah,
mow lawns, shovel driveways, earn every dollar. And then if I wanted, say, back in the day, a CD or a video game, I had to save
yeah,
up for it and I had to go get it. And I did. And then I ended up, I was a paper boy at 10 years old and I really learned how to save, making like 30 bucks a week. But man, I learned how to save and stack that. And I would save up for things I really wanted. And so
hmm
from an early age, I just kind of had that knack for it. I loved business. I loved managing. Even just the paper route was a great experience. You couldn't take a day off. So that really kind of hammered in discipline and hard work. And then in college, I'll rewind a little bit. So in seventh or eighth grade, we did the stock market game.
okay,
And my team, which is like a big East Coast thing, I think they definitely still do it, but it was kind of run by the Boston Globe at that time. And my team came in second in like all of New England or the whole East Coast or
hmm
something like that. So it was like we got to go to a big fancy lunch at the Boston Globe, and that was kind of a nice little introduction into the stock market. And this was
okay,
before computers even. So like we would get the newspaper every day and look at the stock quotes, and we basically kind of picked our stocks that way, and we got highly concentrated into one company and just kind of went all in on it. So I had some exposure to it then. I had some family members who, I would say like they were like when you met as a kid and you saw them, like you kind of knew who the rich uncles were.
hmm
And it was like, well, what does that guy do? And it was one of my uncles who had like a Porsche and just seemed like a really cool, fun guy. And I was like, what did he do? And what does he do? And
yeah,
they'd all say, oh, he got involved in IPOs in the stock market. Like he's a stock market guy. So I'd pick his brain at every family event constantly, every time. I still do every time I see him. What are you buying? What are you doing? He's always got good advice for me. And then in college, I took a personal finance course. And that was by far the best investment ever made. That course, I learned so much about just the basic fundamental stuff of what's a mortgage, credit cards, how to manage credit cards and credit card debt. Kind of like what you got from Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey was not popular in the Northeast. At least I had never even heard of him until probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So as a kid, we didn't have that. So my parents were pretty good with money, and I think they just have good fundamental values. And then in college, that personal finance course, when I learned about compound interest and just investing and saw the numbers that you could generate by saving, I remember saving $10,000 a year. And I had a goal when I graduated. I'm like, I'm going to save $10,000 a year because I saw those numbers on that chart. If you save 10 grand a year when you're 20 and you keep doing that, by the time you're 40, you're going to be in good shape. So I followed that stuff and I invested, and I bought, back then it was mutual funds. And I would dig through those mutual funds. I would read. I would follow the trades that those fund managers were making every quarter. And I would start trading, following the stocks they were buying. So I just kind of loved going down that rabbit hole and had a passion for it, for investing. I loved personal finance for myself. I kind of ran my kind of life like a business because that's what I was doing for work. I was a financial analyst.
Yeah.
I just started copying what I was seeing at work. I was like, all right, they're managing business, revenue, margins, profit. I should run my life the same way. So like you, I had an Excel budget that I kept, and I ran it like a profit and loss statement. And then I had my own balance sheet, track my net worth. So I set up my own system. In my 20s, I just felt too young to become a financial advisor. I was like, who's going to listen to me? I want to have the success on my own and set up my own system, basically as the customer. And I'm going to do all the research to try to find the best value for myself. And then I got to a point in my mid 30s where I was like, I really want to, people started asking me for help, friends, coworkers. And I'd sit down with them and I was like, I've done all this research and I've done the work. So now I can help you do it too. And I got licensed and started Leverage Financial Advisor, and the rest is history. So, but yeah, so the question of like, do I need a financial advisor?
Yeah.
I think everybody, it's no different than like, do I need an accountant? To me, it's no different than, do I need a plumber, an electrician? Because you can do it all on your own. Like you don't need help. You can do it if you're willing to, just like anything. If you're willing to put the time and effort in to do the research, you can absolutely do it on your own.
Yeah. But there's certain things, I'm sure there's, elements where as you're licensed, like you can do different things, right? It's like I can do some plumbing and electrical work on my own house, but there are certain things where I really don't have the expertise to do that. Yeah.
Or the time.
Talk about
like for
that.
me, I always find like I'm a big do-it-yourselfer with everything. I pretty much always will try to do whatever first myself, and then hit a point where I'm like, all right, I got to call the plumber, or I got to call, I got my lawnmower is broken right now and I'm gonna try to fix it this weekend.
Yeah.
And after so many hours, I might give up and call the guy. But
yeah. So what do you think is like when you're looking at and thinking about people that need a financial advisor, like who's that client, or what is it? A certain life stage that they're in? Is it someone like me where, it doesn't really matter the life stage. It's just, hey, my life is, got a lot going on. I don't have time for this. Like, are there certain markers like income or the amount that you have in your savings or 401k or anything like that? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think, so there's different types of ways you can do it, right? You could just go to a financial advisor and pay them hourly, and just, if you have a few questions, just know, like I used to do that with an accountant. I would try to do my own taxes, but I always had like one or two questions. Go to an accountant and just say, look, I've done most of it. I just have these two questions. All right, pay me $50 or $100 and I'll tell you. When I was young. So I think in your 20s, I think it's so valuable if you don't know exactly what to do, if you don't have any mentor, parent, or boss helping you set certain accounts up, like a Roth IRA in your 20s is just so important, in my opinion, to set up.
Yep.
And if you don't know how to do that, yeah, you should seek out help. Because if you can get those basic things right when you're starting your career, even when you don't have a lot of money, again, just putting in that foundation, you can just build off of it. So I think it's so valuable at any age. And then, and when you're young, you could just hire somebody again and pay them like a project hourly fee, just to, hey, you help me set up a Roth IRA. What do I invest it in? Show me how to buy it on Vanguard or Fidelity or Schwab or whatever broker that you use, knowing how to actually purchase a stock or now crypto, anything. So just to get the advice of the mechanics of doing it, to do it right, I think is important. And then when you hit a point of I think $100,000 is this number in my head
Okay.
of if you can get somebody so a financial advisor doesn't want to work with somebody who's terrible with saving money because
Okay.
they're not a financial coach. They're not the Dave Ramsey trying to get you out of credit card debt.
Yeah.
That's not their job. Their job is to help you grow your savings and then protect your wealth and pass it on to the next generation. So that's really what a financial advisor, it takes a lot of time to spend with a client and get all their information, their family details, every account, make sure everything's set up correctly. Like you said, it's all kind of intertwined to make sure that it's functioning real efficiently and smoothly. And, it will pass down the way you'd like to the next generation one day.
Yeah, but that's interesting. I think that's a good point. So as far as, do I need a financial advisor? A question that someone could ask themselves is, do I have the discipline of saving, right? And if you don't have that foundation of putting money into the Roth IRA, your 401k, and, really the receipt of, hey, I've got a few years, several years, maybe 5-10 years where I've saved that 10,000 a year and I've built that muscle. This is someone that you can say, all right, they have the discipline to actually go to the next level, which is really focus on, what you said, like I think managing, protecting, setting up a legacy for those funds.
Right. And then it's really like goal planning because every age is slightly different. So if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you haven't bought a house, that tends to be the next big goal is, all right, I'd like to buy a condo or a house. Okay, how do you do that? How do we plan for that? How do you invest for that? Because if you want to spend, $50,000 on a down payment next year or in 6 months, you might not want to have all that money in the stock market. But there are still ways to earn money on it. So you're not just sitting in your bank paying no interest. So that's a big goal. Then say you already have the house, that's done. Say you have kids. Okay, now I need to save for their college. Now you have 2 new goals. Those are big goals. And you have 18 years to hit that target so that you're somewhat prepared, hopefully fully prepared. And then retirement's a big goal. Kids' weddings are goals, buying a second home or buying a bigger home, doing renovations. So trying to factor in all those things of, well, how do we do it? Because everyone at this point, if you've managed to save $100,000 and invest in your 401k and IRAs and a Roth IRA, you've likely done a little research on, index funds or mutual funds, ETFs, stocks, what to invest. So then it becomes, well, which tools do we want to use for which goals? And how aggressive do you want to be? And a financial advisor that you know and trust who maybe specializes in an area like that can really help you kind of pull those levers. Okay, we want to do this for the next 2 years, but we want to do this for the next 10 years. Very different goals.
Yeah. So it's the person, right? That's the expertise where, hey, I'm not just trying to like get to that 100K goal. I'm trying to figure out, all right, if I have a bucket of money that I want for, college and a bucket of money for house renovations or a new car or whatever it is, right? Like where do I put that extra cash and those funds, and how do I think about that? And someone to help come alongside and guide that. But I think what you said is helpful. So if I'm trying to summarize it, right, it's, early on, learn as much as you can, right? Like understand the difference between, mutual fund and an index fund and individual stocks, and then build that muscle of saving, taking that money, put it in a Roth IRA, 401k, if you're, have an employer that does matching, that sort of thing. And then over years or, however long it takes you, build that discipline, build that muscle of saving, do some self-education, some learning a little bit, understand some of the lingo. And then once you get to a certain point, then you can say, all right, I need someone to help me really specialize with what I do with these, how do I invest in these funds? And that's the time, regardless of your age, that's where you're at. And so if you're at that age where, you're getting close to the 75, 80, close to 100,000, that's when you should start exploring what kind of financial advisor makes sense for me, or is there someone local in my area that I could partner with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it could be even less. It's just, I think a lot of it has to do it. Like personally, I want to work with people who want help. So to me, it's not enjoyable to work with someone who thinks that they know everything and they just basically want to tell me what they've done. And okay, great, you're in good shape. Like, I don't think you need me kind of thing. You seem like you've done a lot of work on your own. It's the people that really don't know much about the stock market or investing, or they might not even know what an ETF is or an index fund, but they know that they want to be doing more with their cash. Okay. And they've developed a good foundation of living within their means, which to me, to be able to live within your means on your own, out of your parents' house, is a huge survival skill. And if you can do that, and then you funnel that savings into the Roth IRAs or the tax advantage type accounts, and you do that at a young age and you just develop that habit, and it becomes that's your normal life, as opposed to stacking up credit card debt, just trying to keep up and live a fun life. It's, if you can manage that balance, then I love working with people that are, maybe they have 20 grand, but they're just like, I'm going to grow. I've developed these good habits. I want your help now to set it all up, and we'll grow together. And if you can find an advisor who, like, basically advisors, they get paid based on assets that they manage. So a $20,000 account is not going to pay them much. It's the same amount of work for them, most likely, as a $200 or $1 million account, because it's the same investments typically they're doing. So, but it's like they're investing in you too. They're investing in your future growth. So it's very collaborative, and it's like a partnership. I look at it way more as like partnerships, like where I'm rooting for all of my clients to have massive, massive success at their job, because the better they do, the better we both do.
And you're looking for people that have, right, so a good trajectory, right? To your point, maybe you're not at the 100,000. You're someone who's early in their career and they're on that trajectory, right? Where, hey, I'm not going to have 100,000 now, but in 3-4 years, right, I'm going to be there. And hey, this is a long-term partnership, someone that I want to associate with to help and guide and, have a long-term relationship. And those are people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you're growing together. So it's like you're investing in each other. And then there's also there's very different, unique situations. There can be somebody who just inherits a lot of money. That's very common, especially now. You have a huge generation. There's going to be a big wealth transfer.
Yeah.
And that happens to very young people too, they could be in college and inherit, $500,000, and then they don't know what to do. What do you do? Who do you call? So that's a big one, inheritance. There's a lot of young people who make a lot. Basically, the ways that younger people accumulate or fall into big wealth is inheritance, or they work for a startup that goes public, and they have stock options. They work for a company and get a lot of stock options that does really well, or they start a business and it does really well. Those are typically the ways that the younger people, the 20s and 30s that become millionaires young, and then they have all this money and they're like, okay, now they have that feeling like, I maybe need to, ask for a little help here. What should I do? Okay, I got to this point. Now what do I do with it? How do I protect it?
Yeah. So they have that self-awareness that, I need someone alongside with me, partnering with me to help manage this and make sure I don't screw it up. Right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Because you only need to get rich once. That's it. You just need to keep it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the trick.